Hello, I'm Dr. Angelo Landriscina, aka DermAngelo, board-certified dermatologist, skincare enthusiast, and noted millennial. Today, we're doing another Derm Reacts. We are going to delve into Ashley Tisdale's skincare routine as told by her Vogue video. I really am not an Ashley Tisdale fan necessarily. I never saw High School Musical. I was only aware of who she was when I was younger because I had a friend named Stephanie who looks a lot like her, and she always got told that she looked like Ashley Tisdale. Hi, Stephanie, if you're watching. Before we get into it, make sure you're following along on all social media, especially TikTok, where I do a lot of reaction videos, all at DermAngelo. You may have noticed that I sound a little bit hoarse. I have a cold. It's not COVID. I'm here drinking my tea out of this beautiful GW University mug, repping the university where I did my derm residency. Okay, so the video is called Ashley Tisdale's Guide to Mood Boosting Skincare and Makeup Vogue Beauty Secrets. So let's see, let's get our mood boosted.
Hey guys, it's Ashley Tisdale and I'm gonna walk you through my everyday skincare routine and my glowy, dewy, all natural makeup routine. All right, let's get started. This is my ultimate face wash. It's so good. It is Joanna Vargas Vitamin C Face Wash. One of the things I've learned is that when I go to my dermatologist or get a facial, they really take the time to wash your face. I'm someone who at the end of the day can be like, oh, I just want to get this off real fast, but it's so important to really take the time. And you know, get like a little massage in there, it feels good.
Okay, so a few things jumping out right away. It's like I hear all natural as the first thing when she talks about her makeup. Like, that's already a red flag for me. I'm gonna try not to be as opinionated from here on out, just based on that. She talks about how important facial cleansing is to her. Yeah, it is. I would say, you know, as a dermatologist, you also don't want to over cleanse. It can be really stripping and irritating. She talks about when she goes to like the derm or the esthetician, they clean your face really well. Yeah, if you're getting procedures done, a lot of the time we're going to clean your skin with something like alcohol or something called benzalkonium chloride. Some people are now using hypochlorous acid. And the idea behind that is if we're doing a procedure where we're actually breaking the skin, where there's some sort of injection, say Botox, filler, something like that, you don't want to introduce microbes into the skin. For your everyday cleansing, you know, you don't need to be really rubbing and scrubbing. Cleansers have these chemicals in them called surfactants. And the idea of the surfactants is to take stuff that's not water soluble, say oils, makeup, things like that, and making them so that they can dissolve in water and be washed down the drain. I don't know this specific Joanna Vargas cleanser that she's using. Some people may be asking, hey, does vitamin C do anything when used in a cleanser since you're just washing it off? My answer to that would be like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's done any specific studies about vitamin C in this context, but I do know that we know several different active ingredients that can be effective in cleansers that we use in dermatology. For instance, benzoyl peroxide cleansers could be really helpful for acne, as well as salicylic acid cleansers for the same indication. For people with seborrheic dermatitis, aka dandruff, I quite often prescribe medicated shampoos that are wash-offs that are actually really effective, including ketoconazole and cyclopirox. So hey, maybe there's something to it.
I take these, they're fresh pads. I use these when I'm having breakouts. I don't use them all the time. And I do have a little bit of breakout. I am on my period, so that's probably why. I just take a pad.
Okay, so she's talking about using some sort of an exfoliating pad product to go in when she has a breakout. What I will say is if you have acne, once you're breaking out, you're kind of on damage control. It's more effective to be treating acne consistently at all times, even when your skin looks great. As far as using something that's like a pad, yeah, sure. It's convenient. My preference would be to use something like an exfoliating solution or toner and using it on a reusable cotton pad, better for the environment.
The Hyaluronic Acid Boosting Serum by PCA Skin. So I just take 2 pumps of that and I'm still wet. So I am not fully dry. That's important to know.
She's using this PCA Skin Hyaluronic Acid Boosting Serum. You may have seen it in my last video where I tried to compose the most expensive skincare routine I possibly could I'll put it in the card if you haven't seen it already. That's a great hyaluronic acid serum. It was actually the product that really got me into hyaluronic acid. She brings up a really good point about still having a damp face when you apply something like HA. What you're trying to do with hyaluronic acid is to plump the skin and to hold water within it. So hyaluronic acid is a humectant, it holds onto water, and you want to give it something to grab onto. So you want to make sure that your face is still damp. If you find that your face has kind of dried out between steps, you could put on something like a hydrating essence, or you could even just put tap water on your face for a little bit of moisture before you put on that HA serum.
I think I've learned from my grandma, to be honest. She's someone who takes care of her skin all the time, still today. And so I just have always really caring about it. Okay, so now I'm going to use the Hydrolux Intensive Hydration. Something that I've always done is that I spend a lot more money on my skincare than my makeup. It's just, if you're gonna spend money, spend on your skincare, because that is where you have to take care of it the most.
Okay, a few different sentiments there. She's talking about learning from her grandmother about taking care of her skin. A lot of people say skincare and beauty are very personal. And I think for a lot of people, it is actually imbued with something from their family. It's kind of like an heirloom, if you will. I know part of the reason that I'm very into skincare is that my mother also is. And so I learned that from a young age. She talks about spending more money on your skincare than your makeup. I'm not really a makeup wearer. I do agree with making the investment into your skincare. However, I don't think that it necessarily has to be something really expensive. You see that she's using a lot of expensive products. This moisturizer that she's using in this step is also from PCA Skin. It's a more pricey line, but you could, just as easily get products that work for you from the drugstore and not be paying so much.
I'm going to take my Nurse Jamie roller and just, this feels so good. What it does is it uplifts, and it uplifts my spirit, that's for sure. It makes me feel so good. I also suffer from TMJ, so this is just like a massage for that. I think you will like this too.
Facial rollers and facial massage, not a ton of long-term benefit for them, not any long-term data that I'm aware of about, doing facial massage with a roller. She does say that it uplifts her spirit. So yeah, there could be some sort of psychological or like relaxing benefit to it. She says that it lifts, like just pushing on your skin is not going to lift it. One of the things that really always gets me is that people will say like, oh, don't rub on your skin in downward motions because that's going to stretch it and make your skin sag. But really the fibers in your skin that are giving your dermis a lot of its structure, they run in all different directions. So if you're pulling your skin up, you're stretching it too by that thought. Really, the number one thing that's pulling on our skin all day is gravity. Truly, based on the information that we have, theoretically, it's really the sun that's causing you to lose a lot of that elasticity over time. There's a finding that I'm constantly talking about called solar elastosis that we could actually see under the microscope in skin that's been sun exposed for a long time. And that's when a lot of the collagen fibers that give the dermis, the lower layer of the skin, its structure, are kind of broken down and replaced by elastic tissue that's not very structurally sound. And that's part of the reason why when you see somebody who's had a lot of sun exposure over their lifetime, their skin can be a little bit more saggy.
Really important is the SPF. I have not always worn sunscreen. As I've gotten older, it's become more important to me.
There's a lot that I identify with here. Yes, I didn't always wear sunscreen either. I'm happy that it's so important to her at this stage in her life. The sunscreen that she's using is, Elta MD UV Clear, which is, a favorite sunscreen of mine, especially if you have acne-prone skin. This is a sunscreen that won't break you out. It's got a really beautiful texture. What I will say, though, is it seems like she's not using enough. It was like one little pump that she distributed over her face. You want to go in with like about a half a teaspoon for the face, neck, and ears. We didn't see her do her neck or her ears on camera, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that it's editing. So Ashley, if you see this, which I doubt you will, start using some more sunscreen.
I've used so many different eye creams since I was like in my 20s, and I started earlier because why not, for preventative reasons. And this has to be like the best one. I'm not kidding you.
Okay, sips tea. The number one thing that I take issue with here is that sunscreen is supposed to be the last step in your skincare routine. Sunscreen goes last. It's supposed to be able to form kind of a film over the surface of the skin so that the UV rays are going to get filtered evenly. So in this case, you know, she put on her sunscreen and then she went in with an eye cream afterwards. I would say do your eye cream first and then your sunscreen last, and then move on into your makeup. Eye cream specifically, I've always been known to say, hey, if you like an eye cream or if you have a different eye area concern than you have on the rest of your face, yeah, absolutely go for it. But eye cream is definitely not necessary. She's rich and famous, so I'm sure she's indulging.
Self-care is super important to me, and skincare is a part of that. I'm very open about how I've struggled with mental health, and so I can have anxiety tick up. Being home for this long and then obviously having a baby, like my life has changed a lot, just like everyone else's. I have created a lot of rituals for myself that really help ground me, just like opening up a window, lighting a candle, putting a bath, and you know, putting a hair mask in, and it just like makes me feel like so good.
Okay, so yeah, she's talking about how skincare can be self-care and it could be good for your mental health. I agree with that. I think that sometimes like the idea of self-care or taking care of your mental health does kind of get in a way dumbed down to just doing those things. I'm not saying that she's saying that, but yeah, that really is the bare minimum, just being able to take care of yourself. I like how she also, you know, her version of self-care isn't necessarily expensive thing. She said, you know, take a bath and open a window and light a candle. Anybody could do that. And I think a lot of what she's talking about with her mental health and taking care of a child and going through the pandemic, which seems to be never ending, like that's really relatable.
I am going to take this. It's Merit. Basically, it's a complexion foundation. I just kind of like put it on like this, and I take this Fenty foundation brush, which is my favorite. It's so soft. When I used to go to events, I would obviously use a heavier foundation, but because I'm home a lot, there's just no reason to be putting all that on.
One of the things that she brought up here is like using lighter makeup now that she's been at home a lot. I've definitely seen trends in the market going away from like full beat, full glam into more like skin tints and lighter makeup. I'm wearing a skin tint right now myself, Shiseido's skin tint. I don't remember the full name, but we'll put an image of it there.
I look at living a cleaner lifestyle as a lifestyle, not a diet. And sometimes like, you know, if you're on a diet, you're like bound to go back to the other stuff. So I really just try to incorporate products that I really love that are clean, but I am okay with also using stuff that is just like, I cannot find a replacement for yet. So it is just kind of a balanced.
I would like a celebrity to reach out to me and tell me, like, at what point in your fame do you get fed this clean beauty messaging? Really like her approach, talking about like, oh, like dieting and not being like crazy and like doing your best. But at the same time, like, what do you mean by clean? This is the number one thing. I'm sorry, I'm getting very worked up right now. The number one thing with clean beauty is that it means nothing. And I feel like once you get to a certain level of wealth or fame, you feel like you're entitled to, or you need to spend more money on something that's different, that's purer. However, like, there's so much wrapped up in that. Firstly, you know, fear-mongering, trying to scare people off of using things that maybe that's all they could afford. Secondly, you know, there's a lot of pseudoscience wrapped up into clean beauty. I'm sure she's talking about stuff that has like free-from claims and whatever, but I'm just really surprised to also see that when she's using brands like PCA Skin that are more like science-based. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really confused. I don't know what she means, and I'm not sure she knows what she means either.
I also, because of dealing with anxiety, a lot of the time when I was going to events, I would get very anxious. People think that it's like very glamorous to just have hair and makeup and like have everybody over and you get your hair and makeup done. Probably feels like prom or something, like every single night that you're going to an event. I learned when I would do my makeup myself for an event, hair, it's like I'll always use someone to help me with my hair, but I'll do my own makeup and it makes me feel like participating in some way. And I learned a lot like years ago on YouTube. So that is where I learned all of my secrets. I think there's memes of all the red carpet stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing?
I think she brings up something that's interesting and something that like I always talk about as far as appearance and your mental state, the reciprocal interaction those two things can have. I'm also sure, you know, being in the public eye and constantly being scrutinized could do a number on your mental health. However, there are a lot of great red carpet memes of Ashley back in the day in ridiculous outfits. So at least we have that.
I think there's memes of all the red carpet stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? You know what? It was such a good time at the same time. Like, I really could care less what people thought about me, and I think that's like such a beautiful thing. Now I care too much about what people think. I didn't do my makeup back then. Those were not my makeup choices. Next is the Rose Inc Concealer in 50. People love to Instagram me some old throwbacks of my style, and it is hilarious, honestly.
I think it's great to be able to laugh at yourself. Like, I gotta hand it to her. For a lot of people who are in the public eye, maybe, you know, they would be mortified by people circulating old images of them in hideous outfits. But for her, I'm sure that was her coming of age. She was a teen star. So hats off to Ashley for being able to laugh at herself.
Definitely being a mom has changed my beauty routine because I just don't got time to do stuff. It's become definitely quicker for sure. Now I'm going to take my all-time favorite Chanel bronzer. I like this because this is shaped for the contour. And then it's just really about blending. Laura Mercier, another classic, all-time favorite. Powder underneath my eye, and kind of like where I feel the most shiny.
I used to powder my face because I thought I was so shiny, and I did buy the Laura Mercier powder, and it is as good as everybody says it is. So I co-sign that.
I get my eyebrows laminated, so I really don't have to do much to them. Although there is like a little space right there, so I'll fix that. This is my all-time biggest secret ever. I have used this for so long. I always make sure to bring this. It's Bobbi Brown. It's the bronzing powder. And what I do, I kind of just like go over my whole face. So it just, I don't know, there's something about it that kind of gives me that like little level up glow. And then there's this. Oh, I learned this from Vogue. I think this was Hillary.
Just like a few skincare tips based on what she's doing. So brow lamination, or if you feel like you have spaces in your brows, you can use a brow growth serum. One that I like and that I know works because I tested it out myself is Grande Brow. And as far as getting an all over glow, you could do that with your skincare too. One of my favorite products of this year so far are the Saint-Tropez Luxe Tanning Glow Drops. Basically like a serum. You put a few drops on before your moisturizer, mix it into your moisturizer, and it does gradually, but not so gradually tans you. You can increase the amount of tan that you get by the amount that you're applying at any one time.
This is kind of like where my makeup has completely changed since being a mom and in the pandemic. I really just take this Bobbi Brown, I take my brush, and then I just take this little brush and do the bottom. This is Fenty Beauty. I take it with my finger and I just put it on the lid, so it kind of gives it a little bit of a shimmer. This is the scariest part. I have been pinched with one of these things, so I think I've just had PTSD.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that section, except, you know, looking at her, she's really gorgeous. And it just makes me happy to see people around my age, you know, just winning and doing the thing.
Oh, and this is Kosas, which is the best mascara, and it's clean, which is awesome. There's too much pressure and stress to kind of like dive into like a very like non-toxic lifestyle. And it's very expensive. I love that actually we're living in a time where there are clean products that have great color, you know, like I think at one point I remember like back in the day, it was just like hardly able to cover. And I was like, there's gotta be like, you know, something. So I was not in love with clean products, you know, obviously like 15 years ago, but now I feel like we're at a great place.
I don't know if it's a celebrity thing, if it's a California thing, but here you go again with non-toxic lifestyle. What does that mean? What toxins are you avoiding? I always say, you know, anything could be toxic in a great enough amount. Water can be toxic. She even said it herself. It's very expensive to live a non-toxic lifestyle, which, you know, just goes to show you this whole idea of clean beauty and clean living is very exclusive and maybe exclusionary. You have to get money to be in the club and be safe. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe LA just got to her head.
I'm going to put on my cheek, which is Giorgio Armani, and it's a blush. This is amazing. So I just like dot this on. And this is something that I saw a makeup tip by Selena, who got it from her makeup artist, is to go up. And then you just like blend and like really blend it in. One of the products that I will keep in my bag to reapply is obviously lipstick. So this is Charlotte Tilbury, and it's Pillow Talk, and it's by far like my favorite lip. I also just do one last thing, which is a secret. I have been developing something with Frenchie, and it's my last thing that I put on, and I put on my hands, and it smells very good. And last but not least, this perfume is the best, just because it smells different on everyone. All right, guys, I am ready to go have a fun day of work and being with my baby. So thank you so much for watching my skincare and makeup routine. And thank you so much, Vogue.
I don't know what she's developing or who Frenchie is, but we don't need more celebrity skincare. If you really have a passion for it, it's fine. Yes, and I will try it. I will try all the celeb skincare. Ashley, if you're watching this, send me your product when it launches. I'd be glad to give it an honest review. But yeah, closing thoughts. I'm actually like, I consider myself an Ashley Tisdale fan now. She does a lot of great things on TikTok. And I know I got a little bit huffy and puffy today. But, you know, obviously it's not just her. There's this, you know, whole new breed of celebrities out there that are very like in the tank for clean beauty. And I think if they just knew a little bit more or got a little bit further into the industry and really immersed themselves in it, they would probably realize that it's not exactly what they think it is. Or maybe they just want to be the next Goop or something like that. And there you have it. That was my complete breakdown of Ashley Tisdale's beauty secrets. If you'd like to see more reaction videos from me here on YouTube, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. If you made it to this point, you may as well give it a thumbs up anyway, because clearly something struck a chord for you. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload. Ciao.